Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So, this week we're going to be finishing reading the story I Found a Secret Room Under My Kitchen, and I think something lives there. We already read the first half of the last part, but it was really long. So, we're going to be finishing it, and hopefully I can finish it all in this video, because we don't really have any long videos this week. So, this might have to be split up again and put on another video. Hopefully not, but let's get started. Goosebumps spread over my arms. I glanced up, but of course, I didn't see her. "Why don't the cameras show what's really here?" I asked. "They do, but cameras are like everything else. They rhythm." An inflection of her speech sent tendrils of panic through my heart. It was too familiar, and too alien at once, trapped in the dormant layer of time. Layers are all equal here, but the camera, like our eyes, can only show one. A shrill scream sounded from outside. "Kaiva," I lurched for the door, but my doppelganger pulled me back. "You can't break the rules." Suddenly, Mariah's form materialized in the shadows, huddled and gasping. Greasy, wet hair hung from her fingers, like marionette strings. Blood drenched her clothes. Without thinking, I went to her. She recoiled. "How many are there?" she demanded. "How many do I have to kill?" A warm draft whispered past. "I don't know." "Since when?" she screamed. I turned helplessly to face my doppelganger, but she was gone. In her place, I saw a hole in the floor. It grew as I watched, floorboards pulling themselves apart to reveal the room beneath. The ladder appeared, and an alien enormic flower extending herself. Mariah screamed. I whipped around just in time to see her snap out of a sight like animation cell peeled off its background. Kaiva screamed again. The thin wail echoed, but not from outside, but from underneath the floor. Maybe I can walk out of here, I thought. Mariah didn't remember me, but so what? Was that worse than whatever waited down there? My husband came to mind, yellow-eyed and burning hot. That was worse. That, and of course, abandoning my children to a violent and seemingly endless fate. I grabbed a flashlight and a butcher's knife, the only things in easy reach, and descended the ladder. Down below, it was almost too hot to breathe. Shallow pools of wet rot dotted the floor, bubbling like witch's brew. Faint figures flickered to life and trailed past, bright on my peripheral, but fading to nothing the moment I tried to focus. I wondered if any of them were coming after me, and if so, which were coming to save me, and which were coming to end me. Then I wondered if they would eventually become one and the same. A choir of voices suddenly exploded, out of the key and almost hysterically jubilant. Men, women, and children, all shrieking an alien hymn in Noon's hidden room. Something shifted in the nearest corner. I spun around, aiming the flashlight straight ahead. It was Murphy. He was prone upon the floor. He'd been flayed, chest reduced to tattered curtains of flesh, bearing a raw ribcage and improbable spurts of blood. His eyes were gone, his scalp a roasted ruin. Curls of smoke drifted up from his skin. "Help me." Weeping sockets somehow fixated on me. Wet, hollow caves in the flashlight beam. "You brought me here. You have to help me." He fell abruptly still. His face crumbled, eyebrows knitting pathetically. "No, no, no, no." Shadows gathered around him, thickening and solidifying into a body. It turned to face me. A familiar badge glinted on its chest. No, not just a person. It was another Murphy. But it was wrong. Rotten and lumpy, with blackened skin that undulated weirdly. Sunken eyes shone like dirty glass. I stumbled back. Murphy's double knelt and swept his suppurating hand under the sofa. It extracted that strange, bony trident. Before I could even scream, it jammed the trident into Murphy's open chest. Murphy choked and screamed. For a second he matched the key and note of the chorus, shrieking behind the walls. Then he fell limp and silent. The deformed double pulled the trident from Murphy's chest and held it out to me. When I didn't take it, he tossed it on the ground and strode toward me. I darted away, suppressing a panicked sob, but there was no need. He went to the ladder and climbed up without a backward glance. A sudden, ear-shattering shriek made my heart stop. I rolled around. Halfway across the room, I saw myself on one of the beds. Something was attacking her. Instinctively, I ran toward her, but stopped. I had to kill all my others to get out of here, right? So why would I stop someone who was already doing the job for me? I drew closer, squinting to see past the steam curling from the hair puddles. Another version of me huddled on the bed. I caught a glimpse of her, of the thick black stitching across the eyes and mouth. A male voice met my ears, hushed and furious. I'm not letting you out. You're why we're effing down here. A flickering of memory suddenly exploded into full-blown recall. We'd made a pact, my husband and I. We didn't know all Noon's rules, but we knew we were playing a demonic game of high ladder. There could be only one. Let's make a pact, he'd whisper shakingly. We were crouched by the bed, watching as our other selves drifted in and out of being. Right? That's not against the rules, is it? Why we can help each other kill the others. My stitched-up self mewed helplessly, dragging me fully back to the present. My husband snarled at her. We don't need you. He shoved her onto the floor. She flailed and kicked, but to no avail. He pulled her close and wrapped a thick, greasy rope of hair around her throat. It took every bit of my self-control to tiptoe past, gritting my teeth against the sound of my own death rattle. Noon's door waited at the end of the room, partially blocked by the fallen bookshelf. By this point, the shrieking hymn wasn't just deafening, it was maddening. I tightened my grip on the knife and reached for the doorknob. An overpowered force slammed into me. I crumbled to the ground and rolled, only to find myself face to face with Christopher. The hair rope swung from his hand, glistening faintly. No, he breathed, eerily echoing Murphy. No, 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 no. Noon's jubilant choir evaporated. The ensuing silence made my ears ring worse than the song. Christopher lowered himself to his haunches. I tried to squirm away, but he grabbed my ankle and pulled me close. Glad you came back, he gasped. Guess you figured out the wrong me helped you. There was no wrong ones. It was my voice, but not me. How many times do I have to tell you? Something heavy whistled through the air, hitting his head with a horrific, meaty crunch. His eyes bulged, then popped from the sockets. He swayed briefly, then crumbled into a heap. I looked up and saw my burnt, rotten double. The trident glimmered in her hand. She held it out to me. You have to do it, she said. There's not enough of me left. I can't save them. I took it without thinking. She rolled my husband out of the way, then sat down. Blisters and open wounds leaked. Pus and water over her skin, chest or head, she shrieked. She said, Take your pick. Memory flickered again. Not a strong one. Not enough for me to truly remember, but enough for me to know that she was right. There was no other way. I lined the prongs up with her eyes and bulged the trident into her head. Her skull felt soft and half-rotten. Pulling the trident out was unexpectedly difficult. It continued to sink, driving itself through her head into the floor. When I finally wrenched it free, it was clotted with brain and spongy dark bone. I gagged and threw up, accidentally splattering her ruined head with vomit. The choir immediately shrieked to life again. Blinding light flashed everywhere. So painful, I closed my eyes. Slowly it dimmed, but continued to flash in an odd, enigmatic pattern. I peeked through squinted lids and looked up. Yellow and white lights blinked and flashed across the ceiling, reminding me absurdly of a nightclub. As I watched, the lights consolidated into a single bright stream and drifted down, rippling like a pennant in a high wind. Suddenly it went dark. Not just the light stream, but everything, leaving me alone in a profound darkness. After what I felt like eternity, dimness flickered in the abyss. Then pale light, too indistinct to make out at first. Then those flickers deepened and brightened and thickened. Before I knew it, I was watching time, all of it, every layer, all at once, snacking past like bright eels caught in a dark whirlpool. I didn't possess the capability or faculty to recall more than a few images. The green-eyed, deformed monster bubbling up from the rot puddle and wrenching itself free, myself crying and cowering as Christopher ragged Kiva and Brandon, pale and shell-shocked, pinning another version of me to the floor as their father stitched my eyes and mouth shut. Christopher brandishing a baseball bat as Braden stared numbly at a vibrant smear of blood. Then all of us standing together, hypnotized by the blinding yellow eyes of monstrosity that existed beyond time. Finally, everything became dark again, isolating me in a soft, suffocating nothingness. Then my children began to cry, just beyond the door. Light, normal light, the flashlight and the daylight, filtering in from upstairs, returned, and with it panic, I reached for the door, but paused. Words were painted on the door, another couplet, written in the same lettering as the picture book. The people who come after you wait for you in noon's hidden room. You only get to bring back two. Though all came to help and herd you through, the door creaked open. Darkness flooded out like a tide. I went inside. And immediately I was outside in my front yard, staring at the porch while my husband struggled to hang a flower basket. Kiva and Brandon screamed with joy and ran to me. "Did you come for us?" Kiva bleated. One of her eyes was gone, replaced with a smoking hole. She nudged my arm. I reached for her hand, but encountered only a warm stump. Brandon came up beside her, sniffling. Dark runnels of scorched flesh marred his face, stretching from scalp to chin. "Yes," I whispered. Kiva buried her face in my belly and began to sob. Braden grabbed my elbow. "We have to hurry." I turned around, but I only saw the street. The door was gone. Of course it was. We were outside, after all. "Into the house," he said gently, and down under the floor. I glanced at Christopher, who didn't seem to notice. "No," Kiva said. I shoved my kids through the yard toward the side door. I opened it and found myself face to face with Braden's lumpy, malformed doppelganger. "No," Braden whispered. "I was here longer. But I did more to help," it said. Then Braden threw the trident. Kiva squalled as Braden collapsed. "It's okay," I told her tensely. "We're all real." Deformed Braden stepped aside. I ushered Kiva into the house. To my horror, another Kiva waited in the living room, whispering gentle assurances to another Braden. My Kiva suddenly wrenched the trident from deformed Braden. They wrestled madly for an instant, but she had the element of surprise and managed to stab him in the head. She shoved him away disgustedly and focused on the other pair. "Take them," her breath hitched, and she started to sob. "I don't want to go without my Braden." "Kiva," I said. The word has strange on my tongue. She shook her head as tears streamed from her remaining eye. "Do it, Mama, please." The other pair watched with hollow faces. "I love you, Kiva," I lied, and killed her. Then I went to the other pair. "Come on, we have to hurry." They only stared at me with empty eyes. I tried to grab their hands, but they pulled away. I don't think we came first, Brayden said. So we aren't the real ones, Kaiba added. We're all real. Kaiba shook her head. You better run before Dad comes. So I think we're going to end it there. And I'll finish reading this in the other speed build. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.